Today's bike check is the 1983 Redline Pl-20 Carrera. Redline bicycles, always significant in the timeline of BMX. Lynn Caston, who founded Redline Bicycles, I don't know, has a couple things under his belt. Pretty much invented the tubular fork, the flight crank, just some things that are pretty synonymous and definitely instrumental in the whole scope of BMX and the industry. So, very significant bike. This was the highest end bike they made at the time. This was a Stu Thompson replica, basically. I'm not sure the years that Stu actually rode for them. Like I said, a lot of those riders jump from sponsor to sponsor and so forth. But Stu Thompson had the STR bars, the Stu Thompson replica bars, and significant things for the in the Redline industry. This bike doesn't have any Stu Thompson signature on it, so I'm guessing this was not that time period. This bike has been in my collection for quite some time. I have owned it since 1988, and it came about through a fellow classmate at South Hagerstown High School. Marty started out the school year wanting to sell this Redline bike that he bought from John, and I think he wanted $500 for it, which was a lot for a used BMX bike at the time. Well, as time went on, I think we got closer to Christmas or whatever it was. A few months later, the asking price was down to $100. And sight unseen, I said yes, he would deliver that bike to my house that night. And I had never seen the bike. It was just a Hagerstown folklore bike. I had always heard the story from my friend Steve about this bike that John Ralston built up at Rockville BMX. You'll see the old Rockville sticker on here. Still the original Rockville sticker on the saddle on the bike. He had built this bike up piece by piece at Rockville BMX to the tune of probably $1,200 or something. At the time period, that would have been astronomical, would have been out of reach of the layperson and whatnot. So this bike was so well known in town that Bill Nicewander told Steve, we heard John Ralston bought this bike. We got to go see it. So a group of BMXers rode across town. I think it was Brightwood Acres that John lived at. So they rode 3 or 4 miles on their BMX bikes just to go see this Redline bike. So I had known the bike was really nice, so there wasn't any need for me to wonder if it was worth $100. It was definitely worth $100. Still is today, and then some. So that's the story on this bike. I later on have, I rode this bike pretty crazy. This was my beater bike at the time period, so I rode it, jumped it, did all kinds of crazy stuff at Baker's Trails, rode it in the snow for my paper route, ruined the wheels, probably bent the spindle on the crank arm a few times. It's still a little bit tweaked. But the bike is spec'd. I mean, other than the tires and grips, I think I put this seat post on at some point, this SR LaPrade seat post, because it had a laid-back seat post on it. You don't need a laid-back seat post on this Redline bike with a real shallow seat tube angle. So at any rate, the bike got put through its paces. It got re-restored in the 90s, early 90s, I would say. I'll include a couple of pics, steps along the way. But in the past couple of years, I was really determined to bring it back to its original spec, and it is. The kind of the highlights, obviously the Proline frame is a big deal. Full chromoly frame, 5-inch head tube, so it's got the flared head tube, classic Redline gusset, taper leg forks, chromoly Proline forks, so they're a 5-inch head tube, steer tube length, which is hard to find because there's less forks than there are frames. This bike has die-comp brakes front and rear, matching red cables, Tech 3 brake levers. So this, again, is spec'd as I bought it, and the grips basically turned to mush over the past 20 years. So these are reissue B1Bs, but this is what had on it. And I do have the original donuts. They got the rips. They're faded. the original donuts from the bike. The pad set came from Winchester BMX. They had a yard sale or something sometime, and one of the riders down there had the Redline pad set. So that's where the pad set came from. When I bought the bike, it had red tires and red checkerboard pads, is what I guess was original to the bike. Other than that, classic Redline 400 series flight cranks, all the Sugino bolts and hardware, even the original decals on the crank arms, original decals on the frame. They are a little chewed up here and there, but I could not bring myself to take the decals off. I did replace the fork decals at one point, more recently, on the last Inception, but all the frame decals are all original to the bike. And they are original to what John put on the bike new. These are Haro decals from the 1980s. Got those on the frame. They're classic. See the Excalibur seat clamp. This has a Hadley sealed bottom bracket. Pretty neat. Suntour XC2 pedals, the bear trap pedals that everybody knows ruins your shins. Another highlight feature on the bike is the Pro Class, Mongoose Pro Class 2 rims, which were at aftermarket availability, and these were dynamite wheels. Sealed bearing Suzuki hubs. Then this has the drilled rims where you have the colored rim strip. And these came with double-butted stainless spokes and alloy nipples. So that's how I rebuilt the wheel. This is an aluminum rim that's chrome plated. These are not polished aluminum. These are not steel wheels from an expert. They made very few sets because they just came on the Pro Class bikes and aftermarket. The aluminum rims with the drillings, and they're chrome plated, so they're not polished. Pretty hard rim to find. I spent 20 years searching passively for wheels like that. And finally, I came across two that were nice enough to reuse on the bike. Mine were pretty wretched. I had ridden them for my paper route through the salt and whatnot in the wintertime and pretty much ruined them. Another features, you'll see the Dyno D2 brake guard. No lying about that. That is original decals on that. The Mathauser fin brake shoes, another highlight feature on the MX 1000s. Cashamax Aero seat, like I said, with the original Rockville BMX sticker on there. And I have left it on there. And there's another one on the bottom, Dyno sticker that's on the bottom. All those decals were on the bike when I got it, and they still are. Here we go. Chrome plated. Tough Neck Pro model. Tiger stamp stem. So not something to see every day. Pretty neat item. The other thing, Powerlight power bend bars. So these are the pro size bars with the power bend. They actually have a bend underneath the grip area so your hand kind of fit the grip a lot better. It's more natural. I mean, I'm used to it, but some people feel, you get on the bike and it feels like the handlebars are bent. So that's pretty much the rundown of this bike. Pretty neat bike. It's been in my collection for quite some time. Always known as the John Ralston Pl-20 from 1983.